Hello, Sumit bhai. Yeah, you are right. Actually, when I took over the chairmanship, the start of 2021, India had just come out of the first wave, and no one knew that we are heading into a much bigger second wave. So yes, it was tough for everyone, and especially for GJC, because we had lost our beloved vice chairman Shankarda to COVID. And I was assuming the position on his behalf. So it was an emotionally tough time for me personally. But right from day one, we have had a number of challenges. Like in December 2020, the PMLA notification was out, and we were coming close to the mandatory hallmarking regime coming from June of 2021. So I had to start running from day one. And yes, the industry had a setback during COVID, but I must say that the industry has bounced back tremendously well. The resilience of our industry is beyond everyone's imagination, and we had a very good 2021 in terms of business, and getting mandatory hallmarking of the blocks was a major issue. And I must thank the Ministry of Consumer Affairs and Honorable Minister Piyush ji also, because they were hand-holding us right through, and I was luckily part of expert and advisory committee. So now we have a mandatory regime which is palatable, and implementable at the ground level. Secondly, in GJC we had a dream of having our own show for last almost 10 to 15 years. And I must say I'm lucky that it came to fruition in my tenure under Sayam Bhai's leadership. So that has been one of the high points. And even despite the setback of COVID, the industry has been doing well. People have been expanding, and the organized retail is growing up. And industries in smaller towns are formalizing. So I think it has been a good 2 years in spite of COVID that we have had. For GJC, our motto has been to promote progress, and most important, to protect. So our focus has always been to protecting the industry from any negative things that are happening, may it be some legislation or may it be any other challenges like COVID. So we stood by the industry during COVID also. Our members contributed, and we supported the ground level karigars with their monthly sustenance allowance that we had given. So that was one social responsibility towards the industry that we went through. And in terms of protect, the legal committee that GJC has, I think that is the prime reason for our existence, because GJC came into existence only because of the excise, which came onto the industry. So we have been standing shoulder to shoulder with the industry in GST implementation, may it be protecting from PMLA or hallmarking. So these things we have done. And I am happy to share that we have had successes in almost all the endeavors that we have done. In terms of progressing, because we believe that just doing business is not good. Doing business in the right way, in the progressive way, is the way forward. And that's why we have had Manthan, which is a conclave where you get new ideas. And we have Labham, which is directed towards the ground level jewelers and improving their compliance, making them understand what is required, improving their management techniques. So the progressing as an individual, as a jewelry industry, is very important for us, and we have been trying to push that. Interestingly, I'll tell you, because I travel across India and meet the jewelers, and the one common thing that I hear is that people or jewelers or retailers have been focusing on next generation of consumers. We hear this word millennials and how their thinking has changed and things like that. But one thing I hear most is that the next generation inside the family, inside the jewelry fraternity, they are not coming into the business. So we have somehow forgotten to address the next generation in our families, and so it is the responsibility of our generation to hand over a business to them which is acceptable to them, which is they find it inviting. So that is most important, and to do that we are pushing through our Labham seminars and making people understand what compliances are and what is the forward-looking business that they should do. And most important in terms of promote, GJS was a milestone of an event in GJC's history. Our first edition, which happened in Geo in April 2022, was a milestone in our industry and in the exhibitions that we have. I must thank the industry that they have welcomed it with open arms, and everyone, right from the retailers, right from the visitors, everyone appreciated the way the event was held. We had a lot of international visitors who are coming in. They said, "Sir, this is world class. This is even better than some of the international shows that we have visited." So I'm really thankful for the industry for their support, and also to the exhibitors. We tend to look at gem and jewelry industry in isolation, but there are a lot of things which are changing in the world and in India, and especially COVID has precipitated a lot of things. May it be digitization, polarization in all the markets. So I think the same thing will happen in the jewelry industry, and the organized players or corporate, so to say, what we see. Couple of years back, maybe 8 to 10 years back, it was about 5 to 10% of the market, and currently we are looking at 40-45% market being garnered by the corporates, and the speed at which they are growing, it will soon cross 50%. But at the same time, like in politics, you have regional satraps. So there are regional, well-entrenched regional chains and large format single stores. So they are also doing well. I see a challenge for small and medium players in India, so to say, metropolitan region, as well as in the hinterland or in the smaller places. They have to innovate. They have to focus on giving services to the end consumers that the larger players are not able to give because of the sheer size. So I think if they are able to innovate and be fleet-footed, they will survive and retain their business. Otherwise, it is very difficult for them. And I see a lot of larger single stores moving into the regional chain kind of scenario, and some regional chains growing to become national chains. As an industry, we are getting more and more formalized with GST coming in, hallmarking coming in. Whenever we used to go and meet the government, their outlook towards us was that you are a gem and jewelry trade. Trade generally connotes that you have been unorganized. But now it is the responsibility of GJC and other organizations to promote that, yes, no, we are an industry. We have, organized retail at one end. I think what is important now, this next phase has come, that we need organized manufacturing also. The manufacturing needs to improve in terms of automation or getting formalized, improving the working conditions. So once that happens, then the complete picture of a gem and jewelry industry, so to say, will be complete. And from GJC, we are definitely working towards that. We have a jewelry park coming up in New Bombay, which we are promoting and supporting. So once that comes in, the manufacturing end of the industry also becomes organized. Then the whole value chain becomes organized, and we have a wonderful setup. Sumit, by 2030 is a long way off. Because earlier there used to be 10-year plans and 5-year plans, but nowadays people work at much shorter plans with 6 months plans and things, even in corporates. So I can see in next 5 years, I want to see GJC going right to the grassroots and we have a plan ready through which we'll have connectivity to all the states, and all the districts will have our representative there. And we are changing our articles to suit that, because we don't go beyond what is mandated by the articles. So hopefully we'll have district coordinators, state coordinators, and then culminating into a COA. So that is in terms of organization. In terms of event, yes, we have our show GJS will have 2 shows in a year, and we want to do medium-sized shows but world-class shows, where business happens and people are happy to participate, as well as even happier to visit. And there's been a lot of activity in B2B shows in terms of promotion in B2B. But one area which has been neglected for many times is the B2C sphere, where unless and until there is activity and sale at the retail counter, the rest of the B2B activities become irrelevant. And GJC was the pioneer with Lucky Lakshmi, that we did a pan-India consumer promotion, and it was a super hit. 2 years back we had planned the same thing. All the planning was done, but unfortunately the COVID hit and we could not do. But we are again activating that, and in next few years we'll be having Lucky Lakshmi kind of an events, national as well as statewide, because in India each state have their own different laws. So many times it becomes very difficult to run a consumer activity across India in a same manner. So we may do with start with regional or state-wise shows, and then go on to a national B2C campaign. And as a GJC, I want GJC to engage with the government more, in a way that most of the times government's intentions are absolutely right, but because at ground level what happens is not many times known to them. So it is our duty that we'll engage with the government and have the best laws which are easy to comply with. Otherwise, if any law which is difficult to comply with, we won't have the best results. And in my tenure, I would say that I have tried my best that all the associations that are there across India, maybe regional or national, I have tried to work with them, try to come to an understanding. Like in our GJS show, I am really happy and thankful to all the associations that in GJS show the whole India and all the associations were present at the lamp lighting, and gave a unified face to the industry. So I think all the associations need to hold hand with each other, work together. So if all of us work in the same direction, I think the industry will run faster. That is my belief, and which I have stayed true for last 2 years.